Hey everybody. Ooh, that's a little blurry. This is Christine McAlister, the founder of Life with Passion, my private Facebook group, Life with Passion Society, right there for you for entrepreneurs. Here I am. My name is Christine McAlister. I'm the founder of Life with Passion. I'm a mentor who helps women do what I did, which is to quit the 9-to-5 that you hate, and that is slowly or quickly sucking the life out of you, and to grow the business of your dreams that you just haven't figured out how to make possible to quit your job yet. So I take a stand for the woman who is in a 9-to-5 and just doesn't see the possibilities for how to get out, but man, she knows that's what she wants more than anything else. It's what I did, and it's what I teach now. I've been an entrepreneur for 11 years after working in a job that was totally draining to me for years and years and years in a toxic work environment. So what I do is I help you identify your true passions, or maybe you probably already know what they are, but I help you give yourself permission to pursue them. Because I know that what you want, hey Angie, great to see you. I know that what you want is to do more good in the world and to make a difference with what you've been called to do and your unique gifts. And so often I see women holding themselves back because they tell themselves that they don't have the money to pursue their dreams. I woke up this morning with this topic on my mind, and so I've known that I was going to come to you this afternoon with this. It's so important because I see so many women give this as the reason for why they are not choosing to move forward toward the life of their dreams. And I just don't believe that every single one of us in this world where we live, in the resources that we have, the access that we have, doesn't have the money, frankly. And so I want to talk a little bit about that, about what that means, and about what you can do to start changing your thoughts around that and around what's possible for you. Because chances are, if you're in a full-time or part-time job that you hate, and you know you've got something on the side that you're really excited about building, you're finding yourself like without the time or the energy or the money to put into the business, the dream that you have that you really know can change people's lives. Chances are you're very clear on what that is, and that it's what you think about when you allow yourself to dream, but you just can't see the path. That's where I come in. That's what I help women do, is to find the path. And it's so exciting to watch their lives transform. It gives me chills just talking about it. And so if you are spending most of your days sitting at a desk or in a cube farm, or are piecing together jobs here and there and kind of grasping at straws to make ends meet, and you still aren't getting the result that you want, you're still not closer to living the dream that you want, but you're super driven and you're super motivated and you really have these big dreams, what I help you do is to take what you know, take what you've been through, and turn it into a business and a full-time job that totally lights you up and creates the life of your dreams. I'm here to give you a little bit of a wake-up call, to be honest with you. So many of us spend our lives in our jobs, hating our jobs, and yet not knowing what's possible or how it's possible to do something else. I know that was me for a long time. That's why I didn't leave, because I didn't know exactly the path to leave. You know, I had my own wake-up call. I had to make a decision between marrying the man I was in love with and staying at this job that I hated because it was going to require a move. So that's what finally got me to quit after 4 years of absolute hell. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I had started my business on the side, but I couldn't see a way to make it work. But I replaced my income from that job that I hated within the first month after I quit. Within the first month after I quit. and started my own business and got really, really clear and focused, to be honest with you. And so I know that you want your work to make a difference. And I know that you know what you want to be doing deep down. So it's time to assess your values and this question that I often ask, and to be honest about it. If you look at your bank account and you look at your calendar, the things that you're spending your time and your money on say what your true priorities are. So if there's something that you say that you want, but then you say you don't have the money, all that means is there's something that more important that money is going toward in your life, truly. Some of you have heard me give this example before. I had to come to terms with this early last year, but I have an aunt who's also lost a child like myself, and she used to say to me, if it's a problem money can solve, honey, it's not a real problem. Now, the first time I heard that, my husband and I had 2 houses. We couldn't sell either. We felt totally trapped money-wise. We got married. We had tens and tens of thousands of dollars of debt equivalent to our yearly income, combined income. And we're looking at this going, how are we going to dig out? How are we going to pay this off, right? She said, well, honey, don't stress. If it's a problem money can solve. Well, it's not a real problem. I was like, you don't know what you're talking about, girlfriend. Like, this feels like a pretty real problem to me. I learned what she meant after my daughter died. Because suddenly you get perspective about what's really important when you realize what's at stake. Here's what I mean by that. My husband and I are very fiscally responsible, but we would have thrown all that out and trashed our credit score and sold everything that we had. Hey, Caitlin, everything that we had, gotten access to every line of credit we could, every family member, every friend who would have offered, who would have been available to us if we knew it would have made a difference in the outcome with our daughter Maeve, if we could have found a way to help her survive. And so what it means when you say that you can't afford it, or when you say that you don't have the money, and when I say that I don't have the money, in truth, what it means is we don't value this enough to pay for it or to find a way to pay for it. Money is a secondary reason, just like anger is a secondary emotion. There's your little psychology tip for the day. Anger is a secondary emotion. It's always results from a primary emotion, and money is a secondary reason for not doing something. Now, some of you may be like, that's crazy. It makes no sense. Well, that's fine. You can ask me questions if you'd like. But it's very, very true. Because money is a tool. And at some point, not having the money, especially you being here on this scope with access to the resources that you have, living in a country of wealth, having access to the internet, all of those things, no matter what your job situation is today, no matter what your life has been like, Rick says you're right. Thank you. Thank you. No matter what your life circumstances are when you look around you today. The truth is that, we are richer than 99% of the world. Just comparatively, we are in the 1% of the world, and we have access to resources that the other 90% do not. And so it's a belief system that's holding us back if we're saying we don't have the money. It's a belief system. And if we want something bad enough, we're going to find a way to do it, right? I always grew up wanting a horse, and my parents said, well, that's a king sport. We can't afford that. I was the oldest of 4 kids. My parents made a lot of sacrifices for us and worked very hard. When it came to buying Christine a horse, that just was not in the budget for them. So they said, it's too expensive. It's a king sport. Well, that never changed the fact that I wanted a horse. And they said, well, you can buy one when you become an adult. So literally within 2 months after getting out of school, when I was 23, I had my first horse. I figured out a way to do it, and I figured out a way to do it that worked in my little teacher salary budget. Because it was important to me. And that meant that I was willing to make a choice with my funds. I was willing to make a choice with my funds. And what I want you to get out of this is, if you're saying you don't have the money, what it means is you're making a choice to not put the money towards something that that you say you want, to pay for something that is more important at the end of the day. Now, maybe that's bills, maybe that's loans, maybe that's, obligations that you have, but you've made a judgment call to say those obligations, those loans, those payments are more important than this thing in front of me. And so once you own that, you begin to realize it is a choice, and you don't feel like such a victim. Well, I wish I could do this, but it's this thing's fault, and it's this job's fault, and it's this situation's fault. I do not believe that, because you are here, you have a choice. Everything in your life is you responding to the things that have happened to you. And Chuck Swindoll says it's 10% what happens to us, 90% the choices we make and how we respond. So if you're saying, hey Mallory, welcome. If you're saying you don't have the money, it means you're saying something else is more important. Not putting it on a credit card is more important. Not asking a family or friend to help me is more important. Not looking around at what I could sell or what I could do or a part-time job is more important. And so I'd rather say I don't have the money and close myself off to it because that's what I've been taught, or that's what seems like the obvious answer, than to take an honest look and say, do I feel like this service to grow my business, this product to change my life, whatever it is worth the value invested? So let me give you an example just from this week. 2 of my incredible clients that I absolutely love working with, okay? One of them has just quit her job. Just a few weeks into working with me, about a month into working with me. She didn't know how that was possible, but she knew she wanted to, because I work with women who want to get out of their 9-to-5s and grow their dream businesses. She didn't know it was possible. She never really thought about how it could actually work until the first time we talked on our clarity call. And just through a few of the questions I asked her, she said, oh my gosh, I've never thought about that before. I've never thought about it that way before. Yes, if I could do just that, I could quit my job. Oh my gosh. I could quit all these other things I've been doing to try to make ends meet and to continue to do what I really love. It's so much simpler than that. Within a month, the job's gone. Amazing. This was also a client who, when we talked about working together, she didn't know where the money was going to come from. But what was unique about and amazing about her and about every single one of my clients is that she knew what she wanted. She knew what she wanted. She decided it was important to her, and she made it happen. She did not know where that money was going to come from, but she figured it out because she started looking rather than saying, oh, I can't afford it. So that's what I do when I say I don't have the money. If I feel like my intuition is telling me this is what you need to do, I find a way to make it work. And there are all different kinds of ways to make it work, all different kinds of things I've seen my clients and the women in my life and the colleagues that I have do. I mean, everything. Selling things, getting a part-time job. I've done those things. Some people I know, open a 0-interest credit card. I'm not here to judge and say if that's right or wrong. They set themselves accountable for that amount, and they go, this investment in myself has to pay itself back. That's out there. I'm going to pay it off. I'm going to find a way. And they do. When I signed up for my first mentorship, I didn't know where the money was going to come from, but I knew this was meant for me, and I knew I wasn't happy the way things were. And if I didn't learn a different way, I didn't want things to keep going the way they were. I got to that point where I was just so frustrated. I was like, I'm going to use this. This came to me at the right time. That whole idea of when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And I found my first mentor just that way, right? I thought it was random. I found her through a Facebook ad. Totally changed my life. Within 3 weeks, my income had tripled. And guess what? That program was paid back. No problem. Right? So my one client, she's out of her job, totally changed her life within just a few weeks. A world of possibility has opened up to her. And now she gets to spend more time doing what she loves and knowing that the work she's called to do, she's going to be able to do that full time and make a huge difference in the world. I have another incredible client, similar, no idea how she was going to pay for our work together, but knew that deep down in her intuition, she was meant to learn what I had to teach. And so she was going to figure out a way. She figured out a way to make that first payment without knowing if she was going to, where the second payment was going to come from. It did. It came. And guess what? She's about to quit her 9-to-5 too. Because that was one of her non-negotiable goals coming in, is to get out of the job that was sucking her dry and do more of what she loved. Because she's high achieving, she's motivated, she knew she could do it. Gregory says sacrifice sometimes. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a choice. It's a choice. Look, we all have access to the same stores of wealth and, freedom and ability to create the life of our dreams that anybody else who's been out there and been successful has done it. Most self-made millionaires do not come from money. They are motivated and they make decisions and they invest in their own business development continually. Because they know that they have to become the person who's capable of running a business that's going to keep growing and making the kind of money that they want to make. And often our success or failure really stops with us. Like, we can blame other people if we want. You're so welcome. Mallory says, I needed this. Thank you. You're so welcome. We can blame other people all day long, but where does that get us? That gets us at giving our choice and our power away. That gets us at being codependent. That gets us at leaving other people responsible for our happiness. And if you've ever been in that situation like I have, you know how well that goes, right? So I take a stand for exploring the ideas that are calling to you. Thank you for inviting your followers. This is such an important message. And you can apply this to anything that you are telling yourself over and over and over you can't afford it. Of course, this is what I hear a lot when I'm working with women and talking with them about how our working together could change their life in private mentorship. Because I know what my clients who have made this non-negotiable and have found a way to do this and have gone, I don't know where the money's coming from, but I'm doing it because I believe I need the help and this is the next right step for me. And I don't know what the whole picture is going to look like, but I'm starting here. I'm starting here. And I'm committing to this dream. I'm tired of saying, oh, my dream is so important to me. It's all I want in life. And then not making time for it and not spending money on it. Because guess what? Your true resources say otherwise. And I did that for a long time. Like, oh, I really want to be out of my job. I really want to quit. Like, I'm so miserable. It's so awful. My boss is so terrible. Like, I know I'm meant for bigger things. Just can't figure out a way to make it happen. Man, I had every excuse. I've heard them. Oh, I didn't have a lot of money. Like, I didn't come from a lot of money, so I don't have a, trust fund. I can't just start at, like, all these people, blah, 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 blah. It's all BS. Because the minute I decided to get serious about my business and treat my business like it needed to support me, guess what? It did. Month 1. If you're feeling lost and unsure of how to do this, this is why I do what I do now. This is why I take so much of my time and dedicate it to being here with you and to supporting women for free and to working with them closely on a high level over a period of weeks and months because of the life change. Because of the life change that's possible. Because of the freedom that you get when you commit to a better way, getting yourself out of that job and not saying it has to fit in this little box of my monthly salary, and if it doesn't, well, I don't have the money. Because here's the question, when will you? Right? Your expenses, statistically, your expenses grow as your income increases. They grow incrementally as your income incrementally increases. So you got to think about that. Mallory says, wow, so true. I mean, it's basic psychology, right? Like it's economic behavior, basic human behavior. So it's about getting really, really honest, and really it's about taking full responsibility rather than using I don't have the money as an excuse. Because at the end of the day, what you're saying is it's not that important to me. And if you actually believe it's important to you, then the behavior needs to change. If you think, well, yeah, you're right, it's not that important to me, then fine. Like, I'm not here to judge that. You get to decide what's important to you. If you really want that thing or that item of clothing, or you really want that program, or you really want to work with that person, or, you really want to go on this trip or whatever, like, you get to decide. That's free will. That's your life. But trying to pass it off on money's fault is not congruent. It's not authentic. It's you making a choice based on money being a secondary reason for other concerns. Mallory says, never thought about it like that. Cool. Well, I'm glad I could give you a different perspective, because this is a shift that I made that really, really changed my life. So I love sharing it and talking about it because I know what a difference it's made growing up as somebody who, felt like there's never enough, there's never enough, there's never enough. I just have to work within this little box. I have to make choices, and most of those choices have to be practical. And, I felt guilty spending money on myself, and I felt guilty, like, investing in things, investing in my business, taking risks, all of that just felt really, really scary to me. And I now feel very differently about that. And so I take a stand because I really feel, especially as women, we need to hear this message. Because most of us, look for permission from other people often, from a partner, from parents, from, someone we feel is wise with money. And our most powerful decision-making process is our intuition. It's really a gift. And when we think back on our life and the things that maybe we wish we'd done or that we really want to do, we're not like super, super, super excited about, I'm going to contribute 1% more to my retirement next year. And that's what I go to bed thinking about. And that's what I wake up thinking about. Like, the practical things in life, while they're good, of course, I contribute to my retirement. Those aren't the things that drive us. The things that drive us are the things to pay attention to, because if you're a part of this community, Life with Passion community, you are a passionate person. You have big, big dreams. Maybe you're scared they're not possible, or you don't know how to get there, but man, you want them. You want them deep down. And so it's time to turn off that constant refrain of, well, I would do that if I had the money. Must be nice. Watching someone else who does it, and to pay attention and go, if they're doing it, that means I can do it. I can figure out a way to do it. I'm strong, I'm smart, I'm independent. Literally putting your money where your mouth is. And taking a stand for those dreams, knowing that until your behavior changes, nothing in your life is going to change. Nothing in your life is going to change unless you do. I have a great friend who borrowed some money from her family to start one of her businesses. And, her dad said to her, I'd much rather invest in you than the stock market, because I believe so much more in what you're capable of than the stock market. I'd much rather invest my money in you than in the stock market. You're such a better investment. How cool, right? And so that's where she went to be able to get the startup funding. She was in a business where she needed some startup funding. So many different ways to do this. So many different ways to do this, but it all starts here. It all starts with a decision to make it happen for yourself and to be real honest about what you're saying when you say, I don't have the money. And I say that with all understanding and love because I have been there. I have been there where somebody asked me if I did a budget and I said no because it's too scary every time I do it. I don't know how it works out every month. Somehow it works out-ish, but I don't want to do it because I can't figure out how. Credit card debt, not knowing how to pay the bills, trying to balance and juggle one thing and another. But the whole time, my whole focus was on, I don't have the money, I don't have the money, I don't have the money. And what you focus on expands, What you focus on expands. What you experience in your life is a reflection of your focus. So if you are not experiencing what you want to in your life, you need to get a different focus. And if you don't know how to do that, that's okay. Because if you knew how to do it, you already would have done it. It just means you're meant to learn something. You have another step to learn. T. Harv Eker says, if there's something you don't have yet, it just means there's something you don't know. So where are you going to learn it? Where are you going to learn it? You need to find somebody you connect with and who you feel like can help you, and you need to get close to them and learn from them. That is the best advice I have for how I tripled my income, have traveled the world, moved into my dream house, and have done that all in the last year, 15 months. It changed everything for me to really take a stand for my dreams and my business and put a little bit of money behind it rather than just talking a big talk. So what questions do you have for me? Anybody want to be brave and ask a question around, what do I do when I don't have the money? You have a specific situation that you want some help around? I'm happy to answer those questions. Today is the last day to work with me until October. And so this has been fresh on my mind because it's an awesome opportunity to change your life, just like the women who are quitting their jobs and devoting themselves more fully to their true passions and what they love and changing the world and not working for someone else's dreams anymore. And so that's exactly why I do what I do. That's what I help women do, is to create those side businesses and grow them. Grow those side businesses into something that replaces your income and you can get out of there. Mallory says, I now want to head over to website and work with you and figure out the money later. I dwell too much on money. Mallory, amazing. I mean, amazing. I'd be honored to work with you. And, I've been there because when I focused on how I didn't have enough money, all I got was I didn't have enough money. When I suddenly realized, look, I believe I have enough money. I believe this investment is going to come back to me swiftly. I believe this investment in myself and in my business is worth every penny. I believe I've found somebody who can help me, and I take myself and my business seriously enough to put my money where my mouth is. Everything changed. Like I said, 3 weeks, my income tripled. In less than that coaching package was paid for. I have not looked back. And so, in the wake of losing my daughter, I realized that, hey, the thing that I really have loved about all my businesses, all 3 that I started on my own from scratch and 1 that I co-founded, my favorite part has been working with women to help them get where they want to go by teaching them what I've done and applying it and customizing it with a clear plan, helping them bust through their blocks and their fears and do it and learn that it's possible. And when I realized that, after a lot of soul searching, I thought that's my calling. And it has proven to be so true. I work with women all over the world now to do just that. And and the biggest thing that I hear is this investment in myself was the best money I could have ever spent. I was binge shopping before and, trying to numb the pain of in a job that I hated, and my relationship sucked and I was really unhappy, and I was carrying my unhappiness from my 9 to 5 into all other areas of my life. And so nothing was good. And, you know, I took a stand for myself and everything changed. And so it's really a decision of like you making a choice rather than it being about me or anybody else, you know, trying to convince you. I says I was hesitant to come on to the scope, knowing it's what I needed to hear, but fear was taking over. Yes, totally. And, you know, fear is a choice too, because fear is very, very powerful. It comes from like our old brain. And it really takes over all the higher level thinking and like the intuition and stuff because it's meant to keep us safe. And we all deal with it. Every time we move to a new level in our life, we deal with fear because our brain's going to try to keep us safe. I was just talking with my mastermind partner this morning. And we're talking about this very thing. Like the next level in our businesses can sometimes feel a little bit scary because it's fear trying to keep us safe. But that's why we put these safety nets and these safeguards in place so that we know when it's coming up and we can make a decision out of what we want rather than what we're afraid of. Greg says, my uncle told me once it takes money to make money. Yeah, very, very common. I've started all of my businesses from scratch with what my dad calls sweat equity. It's not the prettiest picture, but I've started them because I love them, because it was something I wanted to do, because I wanted to help people, and because I wanted to own horses. And I found creative ways to do it without going out and starting with money. And every single one of them has built from the bottom up. And that's my approach. That's the approach that I teach. Because I believe that we also become the kind of responsible business owners, founders, and CEOs that we need to be when we approach it that way. Because we learn every part of our business. And then when we're ready to delegate, we know who we're looking for. We know what we want to delegate because it's the part we found out we enjoy the least. And we are able to hire people who really, really support the areas we need support in. So if somebody, you know, walked up to me, gave me a check for $100,000 and was like, go start another business. Look, I don't want to share my profits with that person. I want to know that everything I've built is I'm responsible for and I reap the benefits of. I love that. Right? I mean, being a motivated, driven person, it can be scary at times, but there's also so much excitement and pride and accomplishment in knowing that what you set out to do, you did and are doing, and it's what you're meant to do. And it's not up to anybody else. It's not up to somebody in some cube that you know, might never meet. It's not up to some backer who's just laying around, you know, drinking, take some money out of their trust fund to give to you because it's fun. It's up to you. And like I said earlier, the large majority of self-made millionaires did not come from money. They did not start with money. So in my marketing business, I work with a lot of clients who started from nothing and became millionaires. And I love that. I love surrounding myself with that energy and getting to study them up close and, you know, find out how they did it and how they're doing it and help them market these businesses that were their passions, that are their passions. It's so much fun and it's such an honor. And so again, it's that helping thing that I have to help them get their message out there because I only take on clients whose businesses I really believe in and who, you know, I feel like I could be friends with. In the same way with my coaching clients too. I tell a lot of women, no, you're not a good fit because you're not ready for this level of accountability and life change. Like if I extend an invitation, I know I'm sharing a lot of my energy and my life and my experience with them. And I want to make sure it's a good match because I want them to be successful. And it's not about the sale for me. It's about empowering women to make the choice that they want to make and not offloading it onto, I don't have the money, and not offloading it onto, now's not a good time. Because there's never going to be the perfect time. It's a question and a matter of making a choice that now is the right time. Other questions, comments before I go. Some great ones here. I'm loving this. If you do have questions about working with me today before I shut this thing down because I'm having a baby, I would love to connect with you. You can go to lifewithpassion.com, or info@lifewithpassion.com is my email address. And we can talk about what working together would look like and if it's a good fit for your goals. And like I said, I tell you if it's not. But the money is a tool to get you where you want to go and to show the world and yourself that you're serious about your dreams. I've given you a lot to think about, and I know money is a loaded topic for so many of us. Money is a loaded topic. It brings up a lot of fear. My intention and my goal here is to show you that it is a tool. It is a tool to move us forward in our lives. And if we can remove to some extent the fear that comes up that most of us just have picked up in our lives from the people around us and that we carry subliminally and that really controls a lot of our decisions, if we can look at it for what it is and say, hey, thank you for trying to keep me safe, fear, but I'll let my intuition take it from here. You know, it might feel a little scary, but I believe that this is for my best good and for my dreams. That's where true power comes from. Because the biggest regret that people have at the end of their lives is that they didn't live a life that was more true to themselves and not what others expected of them. That's really, really important, so I'm going to say it again. The biggest regret that people have at the end of their lives, and this comes from a hospice nurse who's done that her whole career, and so she knows. Her name's Bronnie Ware. What she's found is that the number one regret people have is that they wish they had lived a life that was more true to themselves and not what others expected of them, not what they thought they should do. And so I take a stand for every day you being the person and making the decisions from a place of who do I want to be and how would that person make decisions, rather than here's what I see around me today, so I'm going to make decisions out of that place, because that's the exact place that keeps you stuck in exactly where you are today. So who is the person that I want to be, that I would choose to be, that I am becoming, and how does that person make decisions? I'm going to leave you with that thought. Apply it as it comes to money. Apply it as it comes to fear. I hope this has been helpful to you. I know this shift in thinking about money in this way has totally changed my life and the lives of so many of my clients. And as you've heard, they're making huge decisions for themselves. I'm so proud of them. This is Christine McAlister, the founder of Life with Passion. Happy Friday! And I hope to talk to you soon. Bye!